the Business on Top podcast. And you know what you should do to the Business on Top podcast? You should like, rate, review, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, re-rate, re-review the Business on Top podcast. VJ Patel, Shane Chernoff, Ben Siegel. Let's get it.
This is the Business on Top podcast with Shane Chernoff, VJ Patel, and Ben Siegel.
I love this company! Yeah!
So the Dodgers have jumped out to an early lead here against the Atlanta Braves as we begin episode 8 of the Business on Top podcast. Week 8. The Braves are down by 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
I think, God, is there a worse feeling in sports than just being very excited for a game and then realizing very quickly that your team is not going to win that game?
No.
I mean that's just got to be awful because there are people in Atlanta that went home rush hour, probably tried to beat the traffic out of there, sit down in front of your couch and it's already 11-0 Dodgers in the first inning.
They're already up 2-0 in the series, so at least they're not like this is an elimination game. If this was an elimination game, that'd be very embarrassing. But I know the first game that comes to mind where I had my hopes really high and just got let down within probably the first 5 minutes of the game was 2 years ago. Willie Taggart's first game at Florida State. We were playing Virginia Tech. We were wearing the all-black uniforms, super hype, swag surfing, playing at kickoff. We got our doors blown off, I think 28-0.
Yeah,
and
I remember.
That was the start of the not the start, but the steeper decline of the team.
That was part of it. I remember there was a game, it was our freshman year of college. I'm sure you remember this. It was we had to win to go to the SEC championship, and the Gators were good, not great. This was 2010, and they went up against South Carolina. We got tickets. We were at that part of the swamp where we weren't in the upper level. We were kind of in the walkway.
Yes.
We were sitting against the wall. Andre DeBose runs the opening kickoff back. We go up 7-0, and we never got a moment like that again. And the offense was just constipated, and South Carolina ended up going to the SEC championship game that year.
That's when Spurrier was.
That's when Spurrier was coaching
South
there. Yeah.
Carolina, yeah.
Man, that. Speaking of the Gator football program, have you ever seen a political take by one of our elected officers that was so strong against calling for somebody's firing, like our agriculture commissioner Nikki Fried did to Todd Grantham after the Gators almost got 50 points put up on him by Texas A&M on the road?
There's 2 sides to that, I think, too. It's just Ben, you were talking about how defenses need more practice than the offenses when you're in training, I guess.
Yeah.
In the
Well,
camps.
if you look, really any school that's traditionally have good defenses, Bama, LSU, all those teams are giving up 40, 50 points this year. And I've been reading a lot that people think that the reason defenses just aren't where the offenses are at right now is because defenses need the live action, they need the tackling, there's angles you take as a tackler. There's ball anticipation as a cornerback, and you can't simulate that if you're not out on the field and getting those live reps. So I think maybe in the next 2 or 3 weeks, assuming there's still college football, you'll start to see defenses, especially the Bamas and the LSU, kind of figure things out. And
to be fair, it's not just UF.
No.
LSU did have an upset against Missouri.
Yeah, you look across the board, teams are just, offenses are putting up points. Every conference, any team, it's crazy.
I gotta say though, if you're watching somebody else's team, if it's not your team, this is fun.
Yeah.
I love the 44, 38 games.
We haven't seen that in a long time by UF. We don't score that many points ever.
No one in the SEC. Usually SEC football.
Yeah.
No,
it's
defensive.
30 or less.
Yeah.
There are teams that are giving up basically just 30 in gobs. Run defense is something that you see in the SEC.
That's usually where our strength is.
The running backs are just running ragged over pretty much any other team. And it is weird from the UF side after having such a dominant defense for a decade. The first year that you get a functional, competent offense, of course, the defense can't stop anybody.
I don't know how I felt about that like giving up so many points, but also when we win those games too, it's like, how do you feel? It's
I hate to single these kids out because they obviously are like at this point in our lives they're like younger than us and they're still college kids. And,
right.
But there are some pretty suspect defensive players on that team that need to step their game up.
Right. And speaking of football.
I'm Scott Van Pelt here at ESPN. This astounding and unprecedented story.
You guys see this Jets ad here?
Just toss it. Then we're done with that.
Until the team gets rid of Adam Gase and a new ownership, I'm not a Jets fan anymore. You heard it here live.
Okay, wow. So VJ Patel has renounced his Jets fandom here.
28 years of Jets fandom.
Oh yeah.
Done.
Miserable years, no Super Bowls anyway. I know no playoffs this year, but one team that did go all the way in the playoffs was the LA Lakers, and we saw that this weekend when, man, the Miami Heat put up a hell of a fight against the Lakers, but they ultimately succumbed in Game 6, and man, LeBron he threw his best punch in Game 5 and they took it, but in Game 6 he threw it right back and they just had nothing left at that point. I mean, it was amazing to see that the Heat put up as much of a fight as they did after not having Goran Dragic and Bam Adebayo, who their offense pretty much ran through leading up to that, going into that game.
You see it in the great athletes, especially LeBron, arguably, well, probably the best athlete probably we'll ever see in our lifetime.
Absolutely.
As far as pure athleticism.
Absolutely, my lifetime.
Yeah.
Strength, speed.
Yeah. I mean, total package. Just guys like that who it seems like they have a switch, right? They could turn it on and off. And you see it in the regular season from him. You could see him, he's kind of coasting. He's gearing, he's saving it all for the playoffs.
Taking a lot of minutes off. And honestly, that's kind of why they brought in Anthony Davis. They said, hey, we can win with one star. LeBron, you stay off the court as much as possible.
Yeah.
We know you're 35 years old. Save it up for the play. But, God, that's a guy that does not look like he's 35 years old. The way that he's getting the basket, you just still can't stop him.
Me and my brother were looking up stats the other day, and his stats, it goes like his rookie year, he averaged 20 points as a rookie, and then every year after that, it's been like 28, 8, and 8 every year.
It's insane.
It's incredible.
Every year that he's been in the league, it's unbelievable.
Well, I can tell you when the star turn came. I mean, he was always a star, but like when it happened was when he beat that Pistons team to get to the finals against the Spurs.
Yeah, I remember watching that.
I mean, he had no help on that team. I mean, can you guys even name the guy from that team? I can because I was thinking about it the other day. But like Pavlovich was the one that I was thinking of.
What was the 3-point shooter?
Drew Gooden was there too.
It was like Boobie Gibson.
Daniel Gibson from Texas. Yeah, I forgot about him. That's funny. Best boobies in sports. Number 1, Daniel Gibson.
But yeah, there's no sign of slowing down for LeBron.
You know what it is? I think all these the great athletes of the world, the best to ever do it, the GOATs. There's couple things in common that they have is like one is the work ethic.
They're psychopaths.
They're psychopaths. They just want to win, no matter what it takes. Their bodies are in the tip-top shape. They have the best trainers in the world. But not only do they have the best trainers and a nutritionist or whatever, but they use them on a daily basis. You have athletes that have access to all those people, but they don't
take advantage of it. They're just they're okay being an average NBA player. They're okay with being a good NBA player when they have the potential to be great.
They show up, collect their paycheck, and they're right with that. But that's what separates the good ones from the greats.
Right. I mean, you hear stories about, Peyton Manning, it's the old NFL trope. It's like you're the first one in and the last one to leave.
Absolutely.
And, you can do that, but at the same time, it does take a certain amount of raw talent. And in terms of raw talent from LeBron James, probably just about as talented as anybody we've ever seen. He's now got 4 championships, has done it with multiple different cores. He's done it with 3 different teams, which I don't think we've seen as talented of a player win a championship with 3 different teams like that. But, game 5, trying to get a little bit of help, pass it out to Danny Green, gets a great open look. Steve Kerr and John Paxson make that shot for Michael Jordan. What does Danny Green do?
Yeah, but
he bricks it.
No, okay, so here's my argument for that. It's Kerr in that game that he had the game winner and where Jordan passed it out to him. I think he was on fire that game. I think he made like multiple threes that game. Danny Green had 3 points up to that point.
Danny Green is not that great anymore, but if you remember him when he was on that run with the Spurs, and even I think last year when he was with the Raptors, right? I'm pretty sure he was with the Raptors last year. Anyway,
sounds right.
Yeah, we'll have to fact check that because that could backfire on me greatly. Yeah, get that fact check while I filibuster here and do some analysis. But Danny Green was probably, in terms of playoff shooters, one of the most feared shooters of the 2010s.
One of the best three-point shooters we'll ever see. Honestly.
And has he's got a football field, and he puts that up, and it's not even close. And then Markieff Morris, who. He's not a superstar, but he's a good player in his own right. Basically, just tosses the ball. They're at Lake Buena Vista. He probably sent it over to Sanford.
The pressure got to him.
I could not believe that was their final possession during that game, and that was the Miami Heat's last stand because, to use a phrase that Ben used a little bit earlier today, the Lakers blew the doors off of them after that in Game 6, and honestly, like when are we going to start talking about LeBron? With the respect that he deserves. I know he was talking about that in the post-game interview, but this is a guy who now has 4 championships. I mean, what's it going to take? Does he have to win 3 more for people to say that he's better than Michael Jordan? Because I'm already there. I'm already of that opinion.
Down this road, because this is going to be probably a pretty maybe heated. We'll see where it goes. But Danny Green did play for the Raptors.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm saved.
So back to the MJ LeBron talk. Well, do you want?
Wait a minute. Can we talk about me being wrong? Because VJ, you were here for Red Zone 2 weeks ago, and while we were watching the games, there was at least a few occasions where I just kept getting names wrong, and I think this is like the beginning of the aging process for me. Do you remember when I was doing that? I called. Is it Alexander Madison on the Vikings?
Yeah.
I called him Austin Madison.
Defense.
I called T.J. Hawkinson Luke Hawkinson.
In your defense, and all of our defenses, the older we get, the more players we see coming into the league.
Yeah,
that's fair. More in the
memory bank.
So I'm going more with that as to why.
But why Luke Hawkinson?
I can see Luke.
Like Luke Skywalker?
Luke could fit.
He looks like a Luke.
He looks like a Luke, yeah.
Oh, I don't.
But let's circle back to this LeBron James Jordan conversation because.
We need a whole segment on this one.
My thought is, we'll take our sweet time here. This is episode 8 of the Business on Top podcast.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do the Jordan and LeBron thing that everybody else is doing right now. First take. We're not gonna take 4 hours to talk about Dak Prescott's leg, though I do hope he, as a Giants fan, he recovers safely.
Real
Just
quick,
saying his name, man.
Worst injury you've ever seen live?
Was got to be Kevin Ware.
Yeah, Kevin Ware
at Louisville in the NCAA tournament.
Kevin Ware or Sean Livingston? You ever seen the Sean Livingston when he goes up for a dunk? Oh my god.
I remember it vaguely, but it was like 15 years ago.
Oh my god.
I mean that pretty much he was starting to turn his career around and becoming the player that they kind of thought he was going to be.
Yeah, if you watch it, it's truly amazing that not only that he can walk. That he's played in the NBA again and can jump and like.
I mean, Alex Smith was brutal. I mean, if you ask our parents, they're going to tell you about Joe Theismann.
Yeah.
And that's thank goodness that medical science has advanced to a point where that's an injury that's actually fixable. And you saw Alex Smith come into the game last week.
Do you remember
that was a rough one?
That ended his career.
Mm-hmm.
He was never
pretty much. God, he was going to be so good in South Carolina. He was incredible.
He got tackled, and he was on the ground, and like 1 second later, you see his other foot like flop back.
Yeah, I know. I'm like in my head, I'm picturing that one.
Yeah.
I have chills right now just thinking about it, just because. Every time you say the name,
some terrible sports injury, but there are also like a lot of funny sports injuries, and I think you'll find that in the game of baseball. Like Sammy Sosa throws his back out sneezing. Ian Snell burns his his ring finger on a George. This was the Michael Scott. Ian Snell burned his ring finger on a George Foreman grill, and I'm going to play the game Google this, and he had to miss his start. So I don't know who... hang on, I'm just going to look this up.
Some guy also fell in the shower or something?
Oh, there's got to be a bunch of those. There's got to be fall in the shower, slipped on some icy steps or something like that.
I think Kevin Brown, when he was on the Marlins, he punched a Gatorade cooler and broke his hand, and he was out for like 3 months, 2 or 3 months.
Somebody else did that, didn't...
Ian Snell will miss his...
No, he hit it with a bat.
Okay, you guys are going to like this. this is gonna bring you back. Just think, it was June 2017, June 2007. What were you doing in June 2007?
We were in.
The Mets were good. This is one of the rare times
No,
the
that
Mets
was
13
summer
years the
going
Mets
into
were good.
sophomore year.
Yeah.
So, oh man.
So listen to this. Oh no, tell me what you were doing.
No, I don't know.
Summer job? Summer camp. I was summer camp counselor.
West Boca.
Freshman year.
All right, so just think about it. You're wherever you are in the summer.
Eating.
You're watching. Yeah, you're.
Definitely eating.
And wings. That's the wings from
That was
Sunny
probably
Side.
on cereal bowl number 4 of the day. It was only noon.
Frosted Flakes.
8 a.m.
It was whatever was BOGO that week is what I had.
Hell yeah.
So, think back to 2007. Ian Snell will miss his scheduled start Tuesday with a burn blister on his right index finger. This is Neil Everett reading it to you on SportsCenter. Snell burned his finger while grilling chicken for a salad he was preparing for himself. He thought he'd be able to pitch Tuesday anyway, but the Pirates aren't going to take any chances. With the off day Monday, he's going to be pushed back to Saturday, and Tom Gorzolani is going to get moved up to take the start.
Wow.
It's like Michael Scott burning his foot on the.
That's exactly. He was. We just said that, number one, and number
We
two.
did?
Yeah.
Oh, listen, I'm pulling a string.
Yeah,
I
no,
remember what I'm
you
saying.
won't go up to the Hall of Fame of not listening.
Damn it.
But
right.
when we come back, we do LeBron versus Jordan.
Nice.
I get it until the sunrise. Going 90 and a 65. Windows roll down screaming no. I'm so paid. So during the break, we were just scrolling through a couple things. We found one thing on the internet that we want to talk with you about. But one of the first things that I noticed that I was talking to the other guys about during the break was at AMC theaters for $99, you can get a showing of any movie that you want. You can just rent out the whole theater, grab some friends, $99. You could just watch a movie. And you know, if you miss going to the theaters, you can get your popcorn, do whatever you want. You don't have to do it with a bunch of strangers. You can just go. So my question to you guys would be, what movie are you going to see if you have the freedom? And should we make this an official podcast event? Because I want to do, you know, like a fan event for Business on Top, and that would just consist of like our moms coming to be proud of us.
I'm down. What movie we choose?
Because I mean, I have mine.
Any movie?
I've always thought of this, and you guys probably know. Well, let me see if I can guess what yours would be. Would it be Rush Hour 2?
Well, that's that's the easiest one to choose. I would try to get my money's worth and watch like a 4-hour movie.
Watch somehow get like a
Harry
Lord of the Rings.
Potter
Get
7.
the max amount of people that can go in there, so everyone's
You
paying
gotta
like
make money.
$4.50.
Yeah. No. You would have to charge it to make money.
$8, so you
Yeah.
get $4 per person.
Coming up, Business on Top proudly presents a showing of a 12-hour German train documentary.
No, like the last Avengers movie was like 3 hours.
That was pretty long.
I'm gonna watch that one.
Dark Knight was a movie that was long as hell.
Yeah. What is the other superhero movie that Watchmen?
The Watch.
The Watchmen.
I don't know. I did Christopher Walken there. What about you?
Yeah, no, the last Avengers would be good. I've only seen that once. I'd like to see that again. I mean, mine's not going for length, and this would be a selfish pick because I've yet to really find someone I think who loves this movie as much as I do.
Oh no, I know where you're going with this. It's Hot Tub Time Machine.
Oh, I was gonna say that too. I knew it.
How well do we all know each other?
Oh my
That's
God.
amazing.
I love that movie. I love that movie. So I'd probably pick that.
Oh,
I know I'd be dying in the theater.
Mhm.
I don't know about anyone
So
else.
if we did a triple header, we would start off with what, Avengers Endgame, and then we would do Hot Tub Time Machine. And can anybody guess what I would be showing? What my contribution to this trifecta would be?
Is it like a superhero movie?
It is not. I gotta win
Comedy?
in the Major League.
Major Leagues.
Yeah, that's
Major League One?
yes. It'll be the
Okay.
original Major League. God, it's
Wow.
just iconic.
That was like pulling team.
It's
Isn't
just-
that named, wasn't Charlie
It
Sheen?
was.
Wasn't
I
Charlie
didn't want to. I
Oh,
wanted.
sorry.
I wanted you guys to get there on
Oh,
your
yeah,
own.
I didn't-
But
I
yeah,
didn't.
just some of like my earliest memories are watching, Major League with my dad, and it's just something that I'll probably always remember. And that movie's special to me for that reason. Plus, it's funny. And
Yeah.
aside from the the Indians logo, the rest of it holds up. like it's still hilarious.
Yeah.
There's still like lines you can quote.
Yep.
You know, every time somebody makes like a nice like showboaty catch, my dad will look at me if we go to like a spring training game, and he'll do Lou Brown. He'll go, "Great catch, Hayes. Don't ever bleep and do it again." So we also stumbled across an article about one of our favorite things that we've come to know and love on the show, which is Urban Dictionary. And VJ, I know you have some thoughts. I mean, I just remember as a kid, like, when was the first time you experienced Urban Dictionary? Because it was about probably halfway through high school for me. The website's apparently been around, according to this article, since 1999. I think that's probably the most surprising thing that I found out about this.
Well, you thought it would be available before or after?
I thought it would be newer. I thought this was like a 2003. Like, think about it. Urban Dictionary is older than Facebook.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's amazing to think about.
So originally it was used to put words in that were denied by like the Oxford Dictionary and
It was the workaround for dictionary.com.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah,
a
that's
pretty
exactly
good
what it
idea
was.
when you think about it. It's pretty smart.
It's a great idea.
Smart idea, yeah.
I think the guy probably is, I mean, he's not Zuckerberg, but he probably made a decent
Yeah, I
living
wonder
out
what
of
that
it.
guy's up to.
Aaron Peckham. He was
see.
a computer science major at Cal Poly.
So this is a segment that I like to call reading. He says, in the early years of Urban Dictionary, we tried to keep certain words out, but it was impossible. Authors would re-upload, this is the Wikipedia problem, by the way. Authors would re-upload definitions or upload definitions with alternate spellings. Today, I don't think it's the right thing to try to remove offensive words. And that's honestly, is that not the internet in a nutshell right now? Yeah. It's just run ragged and it's become a social experiment that's gone totally awry.
There's some comments like, I wonder if someone actually tweeted that, like thought of it, or if it's just a bot. Because there's some tweets that are like, how do you even think that's alright to say?
Yeah, well, that's another conversation probably for another podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Shexting.
Ooh.
Shexting.
You guys got one guess.
I might have this. I'm kind of confident, but you go first.
I'll go with someone who's trying to like couch surf, I guess, like trying to crash in someone's house.
No.
I think this is sexting while you're on the toilet, and it's an amalgam of shitting and texting.
Wow, you're
I got it.
You're right.
No, somebody. You gotta put it down.
The username and track the IP address.
Upload at Shane_Chernoff.
It's texting your friends, loved ones, or even your annoying coworkers whilst taking a dump on the porcelain throne. Shitting plus texting equals shexting. Robert got an important text while shitting, so was forced to use the shexting method.
I like that it's a method and not just like a verb. Like I just imagine like some PhD student and it's like, this is the principle of this, and that guy probably didn't get his PhD that day.
I love the names they use in the sentences. There's like random funny.
The sentences are definitely
the best.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think for sure we can say like, using the phrase in a sentence. I think that we need to have one day. I want to do a segment, the Urban Dictionary Spelling Bee, and we'll have to come up like with something, and then we'll have to purposely use it in a sentence, and it'll be ridiculous.
Oh, all right.
I wonder if we can have our Mr. Big Voice guy like say the sentences, or at least just say the words.
Depends on what she's charging for.
Yeah. No, well, thank you, Mr. Big Voice guy. You've improved the professional quality of the show. It's now gone from a 0 out of 10 to a 1 out of 10.
Yep. Slowly getting there.
So now that we have our Urban Dictionary out of the way, let's send everybody into the rest of the week with Get Outta Here. Ben, you and I have kind of been like workshopping some stuff, taking you kind of behind the curtain here. We were talking about things that bother us. I think both things kind of happened today.
Yes.
Something annoyed me today, and it was like probably kind of innocuous, but at the same time, it's like there's no situational awareness. So I'm like, I take my time from about 12 o'clock to 1:30. I go to the gym. I hop on the elevator and I go back up to work. And, somebody hops in there with me. Now I talk to the guy and say, just get to like talking. And he's like, hey, did you grow up around here? And he's like, no, I grew up in Maine. And I was like, oh, okay. It's probably a little bit of culture shock for you. He's about to get off on his floor. He goes, yeah, a lot more Jewish people here than I thought.
Oh my god.
I've got maybe like 2 seconds to respond to this guy. What the hell do you want me to do with that conversationally?
A lot more Jewish people. I mean,
He
he's
just
not wrong,
and I don't
probably.
know, and he like explained it to me. He was like, yeah, there was only like 1 or 2 kids in my high school graduating class that were Jewish, and it's like, yeah, you know, you're going to a place where there are like a lot of Jewish people here, but it's like, really, you couldn't have just said it was like really hot. You know, you're about to get off at the elevator,
Yeah.
and of course, I don't want to make it anything worse by being like, you know, oh yeah, like what can you say in that
Yeah.
situation? So I just hit him with the nice, and he just got out of the elevator because there's nothing else I can do. Awkward elevator conversations. Make them quick. Make them sweet. It's got to be like a minute update. You can only talk about the news, weather, or sports. Pick one of the 3. Don't leave me with Jews as you step off the elevator.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Awkward elevator conversations. Get out of here.
So actually, to solve your problem, I do it all the time. Just don't take the elevator.
Oh, right.
That's a
Well,
good. Can we
yes.
do next episode a segment about your history with
My
stairs?
biggest fears.
Stairs, yeah, my history with
We should interview Ben about stairs next week.
Oh,
stairs are
his
great. I
favorite
love
thing.
stairs. It's elevators.
Oh, I guess it's elevators.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll save that for another segment.
You guys ever come home from a long day at work and take a shower, eat your dinner,
Do some
chill-
sexting.
get your sexting, you come out on the couch, you put on your Netflix, about to start, it starts, and then boom, you get the loading screen for Netflix. Then you go on your phone and you're like, it takes 40 minutes for your page to load on your phone.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, like the random internet outage?
You talk
Yeah.
about slow internet. That is like one of my biggest pet peeves.
Mhm.
I had to switch carriers within a week.
Don't bury anyone. They
Oh,
might be a sponsor one day.
That's not. I'm gonna say. I'm not
Went
gonna
from
say
one
who
with
it
the
was.
other.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say who it was, but I had to switch because the internet was so slow, like under the average, and it actually annoys the heck
Yeah.
out of
So
me,
to that point, I don't remember which comedian, but a comedian did a skit on like internet like that,
Yeah.
and how people complain like if a text can't go through or like a phone call or like in this case the internet, and he's like, do you not realize these signals are getting sent like to space and getting back down to your phone line,
It's true.
and you're complaining that it's taking like over a second? Like these signals are.
We're so spoiled.
Yeah, we're spoiled.
Yeah.
It's funny because like, you know, remember doing like dial up and like the fact that you had it like was amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find that clip and which comedian did it, but yeah, it was a good.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
So
yeah.
slow
Oh,
internet.
I think it
It's
was
such-
Louis C.K. I want to say.
Yeah, no, he's
Sounds
good at that like situational kind
Yeah.
of humor.
Yeah.
Obviously like off the field stuff aside, but
Yeah.
Slow internet. Get
Slow
out.
internet.
slow internet,
Get
get
outta
the
here.
hell out of
Come
here.
on.
All right.
All right, best
And
for
now,
last.
well,
It's not,
no Ben.
don't hype it up.
you know,
like that
Ben-
much,
Ben
'cause
is
I'm gonna
doing-
have to-
Oh.
I'm
Ben-
gonna have to cut out a lot of what I
Ben
said.
is like the defender in March Madness, like slapping the floor, like because he's about to like get a steal. He's like, no, give me the ball. I'm about to take over this game. So we're stepping out of the way. Hang on, I'm physically
he's
going.
MJ.
I'm gonna
physically
try-
going to step back.
I'm gonna try and tone it down a tad from what I was discussing off camera, but is there anything worse? And no offense to anyone who works there, because it's a great place.
Well, you don't have to necessarily say the place.
okay,
It's
I won't
just
say
like
the place.
like a gym.
A gym sales rep who wants you to join their gym and just approaches you in a public place out of nowhere, right? And they do it in a, you know, let's say you're out and they'll always ask you a question. It'll be a innocent question to kind of like, you know, let your guard down, right? Like if you're at
Yeah, hey, you know, if
if
you're
you're at a store, like, hey, you know,
you know where to find like the plums or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. Not sure why anybody would be looking for plums.
It's Florida.
over
There
there.
are no plums over here.
or like, you know, if you're in like a store.
Have
at
you
the
ever
mall.
gotten plums at the store?
No.
No, if you're in a store at the mall and you know he's like, hey, like what are you looking at, or whatever, and you let your guard down. He's like, by the way, we're running a special this week. You know, free 1 week membership, and right, a naive person's like, oh, cool, like 1 week at a gym. Like, yeah, I'm interested, and he goes, oh yeah, okay, and he'll give you the 1 week card, and then he'll say, just let me know what's your name, and I'll write your name down, and he'll say, what's your phone number,
It's
right? So,
it's a trap.
and so
Put that
I-
sound in. That's a trap.
I've been through that once before, and as soon as that guy said, what's your phone number, I said, no, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I know what's gonna happen. You're gonna blow my phone up. And his response was, "We don't call anymore. We text."
Because that's more reassuring.
Yeah, that does not make it any better. I said, no, I'm good. Right? So, funny story, in high school, I won't name the friend, he decided to put some of his friends' phone numbers in at a gym because they gave him like $10. Because they gave us like 5 friends' phone numbers. And I got blown up by the same gym for like 2 or 3 weeks straight. But this happened 2 weeks ago, right? And I'm in the same spot, and I see the same guy.
Oh.
This is today.
Same guy today.
Plum guy.
And
Did he find his plums? I hope so.
I don't know. I didn't care.
We talking about fruit?
And he came and approached me, and before he could even get a word out about his sale, I said, no, I'm good. Don't, just find someone else.
Leave me alone. Just I don't want to get out here.
They're just
literally.
They're relentless. They don't take no for an answer, and if you make the mistake of giving your phone number, you better get a new phone number because
I got a good.
You need to look right into the camera and tell him.
If you're watching this and you saw me today and you tried getting me to get a week membership again 2 weeks later,
get
out of
here! Get out of here!
Throw on your AirPods. That's how you get them not to talk to you.
Send you into the weekend. Let it be a fun weekend, safe weekend. We got Halloween coming up. Got some good content coming up for you there. We're going to have the first ever Business on Top Halloween show. Not next week, but the week after. In the meantime, stay safe, stay tuned, and don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, unsubscribe, resubscribe, re-rate, re-review. Business on Top Podcast, Episode 8. We're out.